Okay, we are going to look at now how do we draw a line of best fit. Now, a line of best fit is a straight line that represents a linear equation that goes through a set of data. Now, a line of best fit doesn't work with every set of data, so the kind of data we're talking about are data that in previous problems made linear relationships, whether it's positive or negative. So if you look at the problem we have below, okay, you'll see clearly before we read the problem, which we'll do in a minute, you'll see clearly that it trends in a positive linear direction, right? As x increases, so does y. And so what we want to be able to do is, hey, how can we approximate a line that sort of goes through that and represents generally what's happening with the data, and then you can use that line to predict further points of data much further down the road. So you don't have to continue to draw like these, massive graphs that go on forever, right? So let's read the problem. It says the data points on the scatter plot below show the theater revenue, in other words, how much money a theater takes in, and the rental revenue generated by each of 24 movies. So the rental revenue would be the amount of money that the movie makes from people renting it. So I'm assuming like streaming platforms and things like that. Draw the line of best fit for these data points. Doesn't have to be the exact line of best fit, just draw your best approximation. Okay, so the theater revenue, in other words, the amount of money that the theater is making is your X value, and the rental revenue in millions of dollars, which is what the money that the movie itself makes, is your y-axis. So now what we're going to do, and all you have to do on these, and it's pretty straightforward, is you're going to click on this line tool, all right? And so we're going to use this line tool, and it gives you a line right here. And what you do is it wants you to place 2 points. So you want to place 1 point on one end of where the whole pile of numbers is, and then on another end, on the other end of it. So like I could say, okay, let's put one here, and then let's put my second point, I don't know, let's put it right here, just for fun right now. Now, before I click on this and say, okay, I'm happy with this, this looks good, what you want to look at for your line of best fit is you want an even distribution around the line of the points. And if you look at this, you can clearly see that I have way too many points, the x's, that are below the line. So you kind of want that to be split. So I would definitely want to drop this, right? I would definitely want to take this line and say, okay, I want to move this down a little bit, if it lets me, all right? And it's not going to let me. So I would take this and I would say, okay, I'm going to erase this line, all right? So when I put the line on, you definitely want it to be sort of more in the middle. So I got 1 point there, right? And then if I put another point like right here. Now if you look at this point, and I wonder if it will let me move it. No, it doesn't. That's really weird. Okay, now if I look at this, I'm doing a lot better, right? I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points that are underneath the line. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 points that are above the line. And then about 3 or 4 points that are actually almost on the line. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good distribution, right? And if you look at that, it also kind of makes sense that it goes through 0, because if there's no theater revenue, it's not, not necessarily likely there's going to be any rental revenue. Okay, so let's check this and see if it likes it. All right, it did. Let's try one more. Okay. So I think the best way to look at these is you definitely want to hit the ends of this and sort of put them kind of in the middle of the cluster, and it's sort of a feel thing when you do it, but once you do it a couple points, it'll make sense. So I'm going to take this, and I think I'm going to put this about right, if I'm going to put it in the middle, maybe put it like right there, right? And then I'm going to take this and then kind of put it in the middle over here. I could go down a little bit, but then I have too much above it. If I went up higher, there'd be too much below it. So if I go about right here, I have a pretty good distribution. I maybe have a few too many points below it than above it, but it's pretty close. All right? So let's see what it says to that. All right? So you can see that I definitely have more points below than above, but I've also got a lot of points that are almost on the line. So it's not a bad line of fit. If they'd let me adjust it, I'd maybe want to move it down a little bit, like swing this end down a little. All right, yeah, it doesn't mind my line. All right, so that's all you're doing for your lines of best fit, is just trying to put the line going through the data so that you have an even distribution of points that are above and below your line. Okay? So good luck with this. I hope you are successful with this.